Welcome to the deep dive. What we do here is take, a whole heap of information and really boil it down to the key insights, uh, basically giving you a shortcut to what's important.
Yeah, cutting through the noise.
Exactly. And today we're diving into something called Method Miyazaki. We've got some really interesting sources outlining this philosophy.
Hmm.
And our mission really is to understand its core principles, sure, but also look at why it feels so relevant today. Maybe it'll offer you a new way to see things around you.
Absolutely. And it starts with a name, which is quite intriguing. There isn't like one single Miyazaki who founded the method.
Oh, okay, so not one person.
No.
Got
It's
it.
actually inspired by the whole ethos of the lifestyle
Yeah.
traditions of Japan's Miyazaki Prefecture.
Ah, the place itself.
Right. A place known for its incredible nature, a real sense of spirituality in the culture, ancient sacred sites. It just embodies tranquility.
Got it. So the spirit of the region. But the sources we looked at also bring up Hayao Miyazaki quite a bit, the animator Studio Ghibli.
Oh, definitely. His influence is huge. Think Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro.
Classics. But it's more than just the films, isn't it? The sources seem to dig deeper.
Yes, exactly. While his films, of course, reflect his values beautifully, it's really his broader life philosophy that underpins this method Miyazaki.
How so?
Well, think about how he resisted the push towards purely digital animation. He always championed hand-drawn work, the intention behind it.
Right, that human touch.
That and his famous walks in nature for inspiration, getting away from the rush. And he really understood the power of, well, silence, stillness, using that in his storytelling to convey deep emotion.
Yeah, those quiet moments in his films are incredibly powerful.
Precisely. So this deliberate choice to prioritize a slower, more human-centered pace over just speed and efficiency. That's fundamental here. It's not just nostalgia.
Okay, it's seeing value in slowing down, in that careful consideration.
Exactly. The kind of understanding and creativity you might lose if everything is just about automation and getting things done faster.
That really clarifies things. So it's about taking that kind of mindfulness, that intention, and applying it to our own lives, our spaces, not just admiring his work.
You got it.
So what are the core principles then? What defines Method Miyazaki at its heart?
Well, the main idea is this phrase, gentle intentionality.
Gentle intentionality. Okay.
Sounds a bit like minimalism, and there's overlap, sure, but it goes deeper than just getting rid of stuff.
How is it deeper?
It's more personal. It's about really thoughtfully focusing on what truly matters to you, what brings real value, real resonance into your life and your space.
Hmm.
And the source material gives us some really great guiding questions for this.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, one is, does this space invite you to breathe?
Wow. That's simple, but really profound, isn't it? It shifts focus from just how it looks to how it feels.
Exactly. It's not just about literal air. It's that psychological feeling of openness, space, ease, not feeling constrained. It can actually reduce subconscious stress.
Like those expansive nature scenes in his films sometimes.
Precisely. And then there's another question. Can stillness exist here without apology?
Without apology. I like that. Meaning it's okay for things to be quiet.
Yes. It's about creating places where quiet isn't just like the absence of noise, but it's welcome. It's an active presence, a deliberate choice.
Okay. And there was a third one.
Yeah. Is what's present more powerful than what's missing?
Ooh, that one hits hard because we so often focus on what we don't have, right?
Exactly. It fits that script.
Yeah.
Appreciate the richness that's already there instead of dwelling on lack.
So underlying all this is what? A certain relationship with our environment.
Yeah, definitely. The method emphasizes a connection between people and their surroundings that's graceful, harmonious. It moves away from grand, showy design that's just meant to impress.
More subtle.
More subtle. And the sources give some really concrete examples of how this looks in the real world. Well, things like architectural pauses.
Architectural pauses.
Yeah, like a simple bench placed just right under a tree. It's an invitation, isn't it? Stop, breathe, connect with nature for a second.
Or like an empty room, maybe, where the emptiness itself makes you notice the light.
Exactly. An empty room that's intentionally empty, highlighting the play of light and shadow. It's about those quiet, carefully considered details.
It sounds like texture is important too.
Very much so. Things like raw wood, cool stone, maybe the softness of tatami mats, materials that engage your senses, but subtly, not overwhelmingly.
Right, not jarring.
And then circling back to what we said earlier, the power of silence. The kind of unspoken stories a calm, intentionally quiet space can hold.
It makes me think of those scenes in Spirited Away, like with no face, just watching Chihiro quietly.
Yes. Those long moments without dialogue are so powerful. They convey so much emotion. It mirrors how a calm space can hold meaning without needing to shout about it.
Okay, so we've talked about this in our personal spaces, our homes maybe. But you mentioned it has a broader reach. The source material suggested that.
Yeah, it's interesting. This philosophy, rooted in, Japanese tradition and Hayao Miyazaki's personal approach, seems to have quietly influenced wider trends. It's not just some niche thing.
How so? What kind of trends?
Well, look at the popularity of that Scandinavian-Japanese design fusion. You see it a lot now.
Oh yeah, Japandi.
Right. Clean lines, natural materials, function, but all with this feeling of calm, understated elegance. Studios like Norm Architects are great examples of that hybrid style.
And it's not just physical design, is it? I think the sources mentioned other areas too.
No, definitely not just physical. Think about the rise of creative retreats, places specifically designed for people to disconnect, to get away from the digital noise.
Right? Digital detox zones.
Exactly. And even in the tech world, this idea of delight by design, trying to make our interactions with apps and websites feel smoother, more intuitive, frictionless.
Huh. So even tech is borrowing from this.
It feels like echoes of the same principle, doesn't it? That gentle intentionality finding its way into different areas.
So if you zoom out, it seems like Method Miyazaki is almost like a cultural response to modern life.
I think that's a great way to put it. A response to feeling burnt out, constantly stimulated, overwhelmed by noise.
Yeah, that feeling is definitely real.
And that core message, just be here. It really speaks to a desire for presence, for feeling grounded, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, which connects directly to why this feels so relevant now. We are just bombarded.
Constantly, the scrolling, the notifications, the crowded spaces, the noise. It's genuinely exhausting.
So much input.
And you have to ask, what does that constant saturation do to us? There seems to be this growing counter-movement almost, a shift in values.
How do you mean?
People seem to be looking more for meaning, for authentic experiences, rather than just more stuff. Moving away from pure consumerism, maybe. Craving something a bit deeper.
Yeah, you see that desire for experiences over possessions more and more.
And that's where Method Miyazaki, as our sources frame it, comes in almost like, well, like medicine.
Medicine, that's an interesting word for it.
Not in a literal sense, obviously, but it's presented as a way to cope. Not about rejecting the modern world entirely or escaping it.
But engaging with it differently.
Exactly. Engaging with it more intentionally, more mindfully, on your own terms. It's about consciously carving out pockets of calm, of intention within all the chaos. It gently nudges us to pay more attention to our surroundings and how they actually affect how we feel.
So for you listening, maybe today or sometime this week, try what the sources suggest. Just pause.
Yeah, just for a moment.
Really notice the textures near you, the way light falls in a room. Listen for those little moments of quiet. You might find you have these Miyazaki moments already happening.
You might be surprised. And if you're someone who creates things, whether that's your home or a brand or even just how you structure your day,
Yeah.
remember that simplicity when it's done with real intention, with care. It isn't about lack. It's not empty.
That is impressive.
It's a powerful kind of presence, a deliberate focus on what's truly important.
So this quiet genius of Method Miyazaki, as one source put it, it's a valuable perspective, isn't it? A maybe counterintuitive way to handle our fast, noisy world. It's certainly given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. If Method Miyazaki is about finding presence in our spaces in the quiet details, does that mean our constant chase for more things, more stimulation, is actually keeping us absent from the present?
That's a powerful question. Are we missing the here and now by always looking for the next thing?
Makes you wonder what we might find if we leaned into that quiet genius a bit more, you know?
Intentionally.
It really does. A reminder that sometimes the most profound things aren't loud at all. Something worth carrying with you after this deep dive.